Hello and welcome to the Gold Newsletter channel. My name is Kai Hoffmann. I'm the @JR Mining guy over on X. And together with our good friend Brian London, I'm the host of the Gold Newsletter channel. And I'm looking forward to welcoming back Ian Harris. He's the president and CEO over at Outcrop Silver. And the company just announced their fifth discovery at their project down in Colombia. And we'll have to catch up with Ian. What does it mean? Because we all know they're working towards a resource update. And we all know that the original resource update included about 6 veins, and now they've made 5 additional discoveries. We'll have to talk with Ian about what that means for the estimate. Are they on track to what they're planning to do? Lots of question marks, of course, and a lot of questions for Ian, and really excited to have him on in a few short seconds. But before I switch over to my guest, hit that like and subscribe button. Helps us out tremendously, and it reaches a wider investor audience. Thank you so much for that. Now, Ian, it's great to have you back on the program. It's good to see you again. Congrats on yet another discovery.
Yeah, we've been having a little good slew. I mean, we were feeling very confident at the beginning of the year, just that we've executed on what we told market we were doing. But we continue to get a little bit, I won't call it serendipitous, but, demonstrating some of the upside, right? This fifth discovery really kind of locks in place what we want to deliver. And then even the week before at Mangos also, we're feeling very confident, right? And I could dive into more detail on why that is, but it's been a nice little slew of really good news coming out of the company.
Absolutely. Ian, you got to let me lead you a little bit here. Got to make this a conversation, not a presentation. But Ian, run us a bit through it. Guadual was the fifth discovery today. Run us a bit quickly through the targeting, because I know you back in September you already started drilling that area, and you've done quite a bit of ground truthing to begin with. How significant is that discovery, and how'd you get to making it actually?
Yeah, I'll take a tiny step back. We came out with a resource in 2023, and we said we got to demonstrate how this could get bigger. That's where our value is based, right? We know our valuation is based on the number of ounces we have in the ground. So to create more value, we need more ounces. But all the work previously was concentrated up in the northeast, not the overall 17 kilometer trend that we have currently permitted. So we are going to test and take big step outs. And it was, even just from a social perspective, it was a huge endeavor last year. So we're so proud of what the team did to be able to get that done, right? And so you alluded to it. We have that original resources based off of 6 veins. So we're building up an inventory of where we can get additional resources. But if you're already at 5, it becomes easier to see that this isn't going to be a small increase on the resource, but a larger. Now let's get down into what does it mean, Guadual. Guadual is in the center. So we have the center section. We have Jimenez, Guadual, and wow, I can't believe I just lost the name. It's actually the bigger, most important vein. I'll remember in a second. But either way, it's a very long trend that they're individual veins, but. And then Guadual is really the northern part of that. So it adds significant extension to the overall deposit, right? That overall area. And now like the overall strike is approaching almost 3 kilometers between those Aguilar. So Jimenez, Aguilar, and Guadual are almost all together, over about a 3 kilometer area. And they're very consistent. And I know we'll get into this, but we have several different types of veins. Like even though we have a long list of different targets and et cetera, they all act very similarly and are basically in 2 types of categories. And this Aguilar, Jimenez, Guadual are more consistent. So they're overall can be about 1 meter thick, but they're all about 1 meter thick, right? So, and they're never go through the roof type grades, even though that's for us. Maybe that's somebody else had the same type of result as we just had on Guadual would be the best hit ever. It is very consistent. So our hit rate is very high. And that's nice because it's just we know it could consistently add additional ounces to a future resource.
Yeah, I wrote down consistency because it fits in with the question I prepared for you, and it's just really, how much drilling do you have to do to really get to a resource? Like drill density and things, as you said, consistency is key. Like what is your PGU, your QP sort of wish you were doing here in terms of drill density?
Well, luckily, our original resource was about 60% of it was indicated, right? So we've got the geostatistics, and there's so much similarity between all the veins. So no big surprises has happened yet. So even on an inferred, we can have our inferred is about 60 meters between holes, right? Which is shows sort of the level of consistency and how much we have nailed down the geostatistics. These are what outside independents are putting on us. So um, we are currently in a 24,000 meter program for the year with the goal of we are going to take all that drilling at the end of the year and do an updated resource, right? Internally, we want to get over 100 million ounces. That's our overall goal. And I think our goal on the next update is show a big step up that we're going to get there. Like we're on our way, right? Is kind of the idea. And I think this 24,000 meters this year is going to be enough to make sure we're going to be internally, we're already updating our model and we're going to be doing the calculations internally so that there's no surprises as they end and kind of avoid problems from the past, right? We're going to get ahead of this. We don't want to just wait and then see what the black box pops out at the end. We want to be very proactive, checking the density of drilling, et cetera, throughout the project.
We're about a third through the year here, Ian. It's at the end of April. How far are you through your drill program right now?
So we have been drilling nonstop for a year, which for me is a huge milestone too, that we have been able to continuously drill without interruption for over a year, right? And that's great. It also, we don't have winter, right? We don't have a seasonality, but it's also been, the relationships that have been developed, and that we've been able to do it consistently, right? So we have a 24,000 meter program this year that means from January 1st until December 31st, right? And so it's basically when the date stops. We have no intention of we're going to hit 24,000 meters and just turn the drills off. They will just go. So far this year, we're performing. We've been doing on average around 2,000 meters per month. So we think that we'll be able to achieve or surpass what we wanted to do this year. It's going well. I think we're currently year to date about 6,500 meters of total drilling done.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, good stuff.
That doesn't include the end of April. Like, by the way, that was the end of March. But anyways, you get the idea.
Close. We're getting there. We're getting there. Absolutely, Ian. You mentioned Los Mangos, or as a results that you published about earlier this month, April 1st, I believe. How does Los Mangos fit into the overall strategy here? I know it's a bit out of the way, but it's a really interesting target. Really interesting intercept. Was it? I wrote it down. 7.2 meters of almost 360 grams silver equivalent. How does that area fit into the strategy here?
Yeah, so we put out, it was 8 meters at 669 silver equivalent. So my overall strategy for the company is I know where our valuation is based. And it's not this is kind of what Outcrop Silver is valued. We can see comparables with other companies where we're seeing a very similar valuation per ounce on the ground, depending on where silver price is. But call it $2 per ounce in the ground. And that would be the same for a Dolly Varden, for a BlackRock, for some of the other qualities, so primary silver projects like the quality of Outcrop. So market is dictating and saying this is how we are establishing value. So our number one goal is to increase the ounces. It's one of the luxuries that we have that I feel like we can spend $12 million, which is our overall budget, and be able to create 4 times more value out of it. That's kind of our internal metrics. What I love about Mangos is double, right? It's very high grade, it's very thick, right? So we know we'll be able to add a lot of ounces with minimal drilling, right? But it's one of these blowouts, right? We call it an ore shoot, right? Where we're getting into a very nice ore shoot. So it bodes very well. We're going to be able to add significant ounces. Back of the napkin, that single hole could probably add 1 million ounces by itself, right? Of course, surrounded by other holes, right? But its area of influence. So it's a significant intercept. The other great thing I love about it, it's showing one of the reasons Outcrop is on many people's radars is that it's one of the highest grade deposits in the world and can put out eye-watering numbers. And so we know that we also have that chance to get some of that retail candy, right, that people love and can bring eyeballs onto the overall story. I think our strategy is excellent. We are really executing with a high level of confidence. We know where those additional resources are going to be coming from. We'll be able to perform, And really, Mangos makes it much more confident that we'll be able to really deliver, but it also brings eyeballs to the project. And there's still a lot more drilling that's going to happen at Mangos. I mean, I'll allude to it that way. There's still a lot more exciting drilling, I think, to come out of Mangos.
No, fantastic. No, results are promising. A bit gold rich as well, or gold heavier than the other targets as well. Is there a clear distinction? Is there a reason why it's gold more gold rich than the other areas?
It's interesting. We're seeing it. These structures sometimes have individual veins, and it seems like one portion of it was higher gold grade. Now, in perspective, there's gold in the project, right? Our last resource, 73% of the value was silver, and the other 27% is gold. So we'll get some gold, and sometimes we'll have individual intersects that are a little higher in gold. But I mean, if you compare us to others, I think others that are true primary silver projects out there have put out resources or PEAs with about 54%. So we have a lot of room to have a couple more gold hits and not really put a dent into how primary Outcrop Silver's Santa Ana project is overall. It's a true primary silver and a kicker. And the other one, metallurgically, we were showing 96% recovery in silver and 98.5% recovery in gold. So it's a good sweetener on top of the overall project. But I don't think it's a demonstration. It wasn't because like all of a sudden we're getting to a certain depth and then gold is blowing out. It looked like it was a single structure within the vein overall system that was higher in gold.
Gotcha. Like how many meters are left, or like standard question, but how many holes are in the lab right now?
Ooh, I think right now, what we normally talk about, I haven't had a weekly meeting in the last week, but normally we're sitting on an inventory between what's being cut, what's in, and what's being run. We're pretty consistently about an inventory about 6 holes that are constantly coming out. It's like we put out release, there's another 6 in it, because it's just we're constantly drilling. All these holes are between 150 and 250 meters. Mangos is a little deeper, but we're always putting out holes, right? We're doing 2,000 meters a month, so there's always a series of holes in the lab.
Where's the drill right now?
We have one is at Mangos and one is continuous at Guadual. The one at Guadual will now probably focus exclusively on resource-focused drilling, right? Within that overall Jimenez Aguilar Guadual trend, right? Making sure we're filling in spacing. The other hole that was at Mangos, we were thinking about moving it originally to what is called Frias. And you said it was remote, but what it really is the very end of the entire trend. It was on purpose. We wanted to say, we have a resource up here, high-grade primary silver. In the middle, high-grade primary silver. And now in the south, high-grade primary silver. So it's an overall trend and shows the district play potential of the project. The other one was to move to a little bit more to the west, which is Frias. But now we're actually wondering what we should do, and maybe in the background, even thinking about bringing in a third drill to be able to have our cake and eat it too, because we need to focus on resource drilling. But it is always nice to bring a few more discoveries in, so we know, okay, we got 2025 covered, looking good. What are we going to do in 2026 as we continue that push towards getting over 100 million ounce resource?
No, fantastic. I'm out of questions. Anything we forgot to mention about the press release? Anything about the latest drilling? I think
the only thing last to say is we continue to be fully funded for the rest of the year, right? Which is another really nice thing. I mean, we're very happy, right? We're fully funded. We got a great program. I think that there's lots of room for silver to take a run, but until it does, we have a program that creates value for our shareholders, and we're funded to do it. So, it was a lot of hard work to get here, and I think we're going to start seeing significant fruits for the company on the back of it.
Absolutely. And, standard question yet again to end an interview. When's the next press release coming out, and what is it going to be?
These next ones could be good ones. Like, we never know. We're in a really hot zone in Mangos, but I think our overall plan is we'll probably be seeing news on a weekly, worse bi-weekly over the next bit. We're seeing some really solid news flow coming out, and I think it will continue, right? I know we'll have at least 2 more coming out over the next 3 weeks.
Fantastic.
Including an update on our overall regional program, putting all these 5 discoveries in perspective, plus where are we generating new. And you've seen the map, right? We have the beautiful map. We have all the resource, and we have all these different, but there's new ones being found of how it's filling out as we go on down the entire district, and providing an update on that also.
No, fantastic. I think it'd be a good overview if we put it in context. Where's the The original 6 veins plus the 5 new discoveries here. So that'll be a really good overview.
Correct.
Fantastic. Ian, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate the update. And we'll have to get you back on when, at least when the exploration update comes out, so we can, put a bow around everything that we've been talking about the last few times here. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kai.
Everybody else, thank you so much for tuning in here to the Gold Newsletter. Hope you found this educational and informative. If you did, leave a like, leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Helps us out tremendously and helps out you. If you're an investor in Outcrop Silver, if you hit the like and subscribe button, other investors might get to watch this video and interview as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back with lots more. Take care out there.